Hello, welcome back to Pursuing God's Heart Yourself. We're in the book of Titus, little letter Paul wrote to Titus, and part 5 in this series. We're working our way through 7 principles that are helpful for when we're reading the Bible for ourselves and wanting to really make the most of it, wanting to feast on it. And the principle that I'd like to flag up this time is to always be aware of the type of writing that you're looking at. So there are 3 main types of writing in the Bible. There is an awful lot of narrative, where a story is being told, history is being recounted. This isn't a narrative. There's a lot of poetry, either in Psalms or Proverbs or in the prophets. A lot of poetry in the Bible, but again, not really so much in Titus. Primarily in Titus, what we're dealing with is discourse, which is direct communication, like a speech, or in this case, a letter from Paul to Titus. This is what he's saying. And so when you're reading a letter, what are the kind of things that you want to be aware of? Well, one thing to recognize is that the structure of the letter will help you to understand the flow of thought. So for example, if you are in, let's say, Ephesians, chapters 1 to 3, Paul is presenting the calling of the believers united together in the body of Christ. Once you get to chapter 4, verse 1, it transitions and says, now walk in a manner worthy of that calling. And so chapters 4, 5, 6 are then the application of the theology that's been laid down in the first 3 chapters. So you kind of get the theology, if you like, and then the application. That's fairly common in a lot of the epistles. There may be different formats, different structures that are being used, but essentially you'll tend to get the presentation of teaching followed by the application of that teaching. It's worth noticing what happens in Titus. In many ways, this is like a key that unlocks the whole flow of thought in this letter. I just put 3 verses on the screen for you. Chapter 1, verse 10, chapter 2, verse 11, and chapter 3, verse 3. Notice the first word, for. There are many who are insubordinate. After talking about the elders and the instructions for elders, you get that. Chapter 2, verse 11, after giving the instructions to the different groups in the church, for the grace of God has appeared. And then chapter 3, after talking about or writing about how the believers should interact with society at large, for we ourselves. And so you've got this 4, 4, 4 in each of the 3 chapters. And what we'll find if we look in Titus is that this is a key to the structure. What we have really is 3 sections. We've got this section, chapter 1, where there is the instruction. Let me just switch over here to a pen. So we have instruction, appoint elders in every town. 4, we get the explanation of why. And so we could put I suppose a question mark or an exclamation mark. Here's the reason why you need to appoint elders in every town. Chapter 2, here's the instruction again for the older men, older women, younger men, bondservants. 4, the reason why their, how does he put it, their behavior should adorn sound doctrine. The way they live should live out the truth of the gospel. And so here's the kind of declaration from chapter 2, verses 11 to 14 and 15 to conclude the chapter. Here's the explanation of why lives should be transformed. And then in chapter 3, we've got instructions at the start in reference to all people, how to submit and so on in society. Why? Let me get rid of the instruction misquote here and give the exclamation point there. Why are we supposed to? And so there's kind of an answer to the question in each case. There's the instruction, there's the reason why, in terms of appointing leaders and the cultural challenges in Crete or on Crete. Chapter 2, the instruction regarding how they should live, what their lives should look like. Why? Explanation about the gospel in the second half of the chapter. Chapter 3, instruction on how they should live in relation to society and authority and all people, and then the reason why. So you've got kind of almost a backwards feel compared to other epistles where you get the instruction first followed by the application. in Titus, you're getting the kind of the application followed by the reason why. So whenever you're looking in an epistle, in a letter, try to figure out what's the flow of thought, what's structurally going on in this letter. And once you can start to see the flow of thought, you can really make the most of understanding and enjoying what is written in that epistle. Thank you.